The Marcus Deegan Show. What's the story, guys? Welcome to another episode of the podcast, shooting from the place of bright lights and UFC fights, Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm your host, Marcus Deegan. Thanks for joining us again for another podcast. When I started this podcast, I always say I wanted to talk to influential and amazing people that had something to do in the world. I am very, very privileged and very blessed to be able to speak to my favorite athletes from my favorite sport. Being able to sit down every day and talk to these guys is not only inspirational, but it's a great listen, and it's good to chat to these blokes and see exactly what they've been getting up to. You see the flag, you hear the accent, you're thinking, whereabouts is he? Yeah, I just told you, I'm Las Vegas. I'm not in Australia. However, I think I'm probably the only Australian podcaster living in Las Vegas talking to these guys. We're going to do a recap on UFC 272 that happened last weekend. I watched it. I loved it. On the podcast today, light heavyweight, Dustin Jacoby. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, Marcus? Thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure to be here, and it was an honor to be a part of UFC 272 and go out there and get a big victory.
Now, how are you feeling?
I feel pretty good considering, man, of like I said in my post-fight speech, I had some injuries that really hindered my performance, I felt, and really bothered me, this camp. And considering going through a 15-minute war inside the UFC octagon, I feel pretty damn good.
So let me ask you about that, okay? Because how much of your mindset takes over when you're going into a battle like that? Now, you're going in against a guy who's got good boxing. He's pretty big. He's heavy-handed. He's got amazing cardio, as you do. But you're going in there with half your tools. You've hurt your foot. You've hurt both your legs. How much does the mind take over when you're in a situation like that?
99% mental, man. It's all mental, and I say it all the time. It's mind over matter. It's always you versus you. And I think that's what I have at this point in my career. My mind is just so incredibly strong every time I step in there. I've been through the wars, and again, like you said, man, that he was a great opponent, a very worthy opponent, a very good opponent, way better than people even realize. And yeah. I'm the one that went toe to toe with him, man. So I take a piece of that away, and felt great to get in there, do it again. And going forward, it's wars like that allow me to be able to mentally have the edge.
Yeah, and they also improve you in the game, and they also give you that experience, and they throw you into a situation that you can pull yourself out of, and then that says a lot about you, not only as a fighter, but also as a human being. How do you do that? How do you do the mindset thing? For the normal person, they're just thinking, look, do I just think about this, then it happens? What's the key to making this such a huge part of what you do?
Well, for the first and foremost experience, I would say just being the guy to actually walk that line, man, go through the trials and tribulations and go through the fire, be thrown in the fire, burn and come out on top, man. Like I said, to just keep going. I always say I've been through it to get to it. And while it's a cliche saying, it has so much more meaning to a guy like me. I literally have been the guy that's been in there. I'm the guy that goes to the gym every single day. I'm the guy that goes through it, man. So the mind, like I often say, you work out and you get callous on your hands. And I got this from David Goggins, but you have to have a callous mind too, man. That mind's been worked over and over and over, and pieces of me have been ripped away and grown back. And it just goes to show you, no matter how torn apart you are, you can always grow back, man. Grow back strong like Wolverine. And of course, audiobooks. I'm a big audiobooks guy, self-improvement books, just things like David Goggins Can't Hurt Me. I always go back to a chapter of that, Taking Souls and Armored Mind. And I listen to that kind of stuff on fight day before I go in there, just to, let my mind know we're going to war.
Well, you just answered my next question. I was going to ask, what do you do to set your mind to that level? And you just answered it by listening to those books. But I heard that you said that even after your win, you still kind of felt disappointed.
Yeah, and I just talked to my manager. I'm glad I cleared that up, and I cleared that up after I got back home and I watched the fight. I've only watched it one time, and I'm more impressed after watching the fight. I'm happy with the performance. It's a gutty win. It's a gritty win. It took a lot of heart, and it's always good to go back and watch myself prevail and persevere, through that storm. And yeah, man, right after the fight, I was a little disappointed because I wanted to finish so bad. I wanted to make a statement. I'm always my biggest critic. It doesn't bother me what anybody else says. I'm always my biggest critic. So, but I'm happy. I'm glad. I want to clear that up. I am happy.
I think the statement was made that you went in there and got the W considering that you were injured. Now, can you specify on the injury?
Yeah, I just after my last fight with John Allen in New York, there was a lot of kicks thrown, and both of my ankles felt pretty weak. And then I had an issue with I believe it's a tendon in my left foot. That 5-6 weeks ago, there was a part of me for the first time ever in my 12-year professional career. The thought of pulling out of the fight somewhat crossed my mind. Not very hard. I take pride in that, and I've never once pulled out of a fight. I've never once said no to a fight, which is why I am where I'm at right now and succeeding and doing what I'm doing. But I was close, man. I was really close, and I'm glad I didn't have to. And with that being said, when I accepted the fight, that was I was not going to lose the fight because of the injuries. If I lost,
Yeah.
it would not be say it was because of the injuries. I would not have said yes if I knew it was because of that. So had I lost, he was just better than me that night. He's a tough opponent, but was able to go in there and get the W despite not having all of my weapons, and that feels pretty good.
Yeah, that's got to be that kind of adds to who you are, your character, your fight IQ, the way that you do, the way that you're looked at in this sport. So much respect is gained for you guys anyway, but then, fighting through these injuries is just something different because the average Joe like me, I mean, I'm sure you're in a lot of pain previous to that, right?
Right. Oh, absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And I'm one of many, we're just sitting here talking about it, but every single fighter that was on that card, I'm sure you could go down and ask all 24 of them or how many fights are on the card. I'm sure each of them had something wrong with them going into that cage. And that's what a lot of people don't see. They see two guys that are real quick to criticize you and point out, how bad you suck and man, your cardio was bad, or, you didn't throw any kicks, you looked horrible. They don't know what you're going through, man. There's a lot of pressure on the fighters to go in there and compete for one night, 15 minutes. So, it's we all deal with the injuries, but it's cool to get in there and get the victory, and deal with them.
I think it's typical of the normal UFC fan. They love to criticize our athletes, and they little do they know they probably have zero idea on exactly what it goes through to actually get to the UFC level and be in the cage. So let's talk a little bit about cryptocurrency for a second here. This is something I'm learning about. It's becoming the new way of money of this day and age. You are involved with a company that I believe sponsors you. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Marshall Rogan Inu, a project that sponsors the fighters, supports the fighters. And you know what it is? It's the first wave. It's the third wave of crypto, rather, but it's the first wave of tokenization. And you're basically going to be able to tokenize anything in this world to where anybody, average Joes like you and me, or anybody who's not a 10% elitist in this country, can have
Yeah.
ownership in certain things. And cryptocurrency in general is eliminating the middleman and creating a lot of opportunity and generational wealth for guys like us. And it's all because of the blockchain technology, which really is the future. And man, I should be sponsored by all kinds of cryptocurrencies because I'm a huge advocate for it. I speak highly about it. Anytime somebody gets me going, they're like, man, are you getting paid to say this? I'm like, no, man, but I want all my buddies to have money too. The only thing better than making money and being rich is making money and being rich with your friends. So I want them to all, I want all of us to be on the road to riches. And I think the future is bright when it comes to cryptocurrency.
So are you studying this and learning as much as you can about it? Are you investing your money into it? Are you buying Bitcoin? Are you, investing in the metaverse and things like that?
Absolutely, man. All the above. And it's something I've been pretty passionate about for a little over a year now. That last January, February time frame is where I really got into it. And throughout the course of last year, I've invested, several $1,000s, just like any other investment. And I got in early enough to where while I'm not up on every coin that I went in on, and I haven't just went in on random either, I've been a part of groups and I've done my research. But I was in early enough to I'm definitely up a substantial amount since entering the game, and hopefully that, like I said, this third wave with tokenization, I think there's going to be some big opportunity to make some cash. And going back to the Marshall Rogan Inu project, I think it's really cool. So what you can do, you like the fighters, you invest in this coin, and as you invest in this coin, there's another crypto called Chiliz that is going to be big time. Has about a $1 billion market cap right now. It's going to be $100 billion industry. It's a sports and entertainment token. But what you're essentially doing is you're investing in the token that's investing in the fighters. And as the fighter stock raises and the sport raises, that token's going to raise and you're going to get your money back. For instance, you go to Nashville, Tennessee, you go to a bar, you see a singer that you really like, they can have a token and you can invest in this singer and he makes it big time, like, Luke Combs or whatever the case may be, you're going to make money back on your return. So I think it's a really cool opportunity that's ahead of us.
I mean, it's just amazing what's happening with it. I love seeing, like you said, the average Joes just all of a sudden becoming millionaires, then even billionaires, and just cleaning up on all the cash. I just think it's awesome, and I'm glad that you're getting stuck into that. How's the foot now?
Like I said, man, I feel considerably good. Considering I feel reasonably good considering going through the 3-round fight, having some injuries going into the fight, and coming out of there. Of course, I still need to heal up and get some treatment done, which I will be doing, like I always do. But man, I feel really good. I'm going to be hit and miss in and out of the gym. I got the next 8 weeks are pretty hectic for me with travel and weddings and things like that. But additionally, probably to answer your next question, I'd like to fight around July time frame, like beginning of July. I think International Fight Week would be super awesome. Great opportunity to be a part of that. And it'd allow me to do the things that hit and miss here the next few weeks in and out of the gym, and then have a full, 8-week camp May and June and get after July, man. I think that'd be perfect.
Well, there you go, Uncle Dana. You've heard it right there. We're ready to go again, International Fight Week. And that's always here in Las Vegas. It's always a great place. It's hot as hell at that time of the year. All the fans come in. Guys, if you haven't been to a fight week, you've got to go check it out. Man, I just want to talk about something real quick. And I know this is kind of off the subject a little bit, but I wanted to bring it up just because I wanted to voice it a little bit and I wanted to get your opinion. And I wanted to talk about it because it's part of our sport. Cain Velasquez was denied bail the other day for shooting at that guy that had been molesting his daughter for God knows however long. Do you think that, I mean, the question is, do you agree that he should have been let out, where as far as the guy that committed the crime was let out with no bail? What are your thoughts on that? And if you have any, if that's okay with me asking you that question.
Oh, it is, man. I'm extremely upset at the entire situation. I feel horrible for Cain Velasquez. I think Dana White said it best. You can ask any single person that I've talked to, any single person supports Cain and says they would have done the same thing, right? But here's the difference. And Dana White said it. Everybody said they'd do it. Well, Cain did it.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You can say what you would do. Cain freaking did it. Unfortunately, man, he's having to pay the consequences. And the thing that's messed up, to answer your original question, is he's not let out on bail because the judge fears that he's an endangerment to society. He's an endangerment to one person, that one individual that he wants to get his hands on. While that one individual is an endangerment to every single kid that's out there, every single kid that's at his mom's daycare. I think the whole situation is just really fucked up. I think he got screwed over. And with that being said, man, I mean, but he did do what he did. So I can understand like what's going on there. It just sucks, man. I feel so bad for him, man.
Yeah. Do you think it was a matter of, I mean, I can imagine, I'm not a father myself, but I can imagine the pure rage that someone would have after finding out something like that with a little 4-year-old child. I mean, I'm sure that there's that snap factor where you just want to end that person's life. I'm sure that's how it would be.
Well, I tell you what, he's got that Mexican blood. He has the fighting spirit. We all know that, hands down. He has brown pride tattooed across him. Get out of here, man. You mess with that guy's family. That doesn't surprise me one bit that he did what we all said we would do. No second questions asked. So I think if you look at his mugshot, man, I bet if he could go back in time, he'd do the same damn thing over again. He just wish he shot that guy, and put him out of his misery. I guarantee it. And more power to him, man. I mean, just a shitty situation. I feel terrible.
Well, prayers out to Cain and prayers out to,
Prayers
more
to
importantly,
Cain, man.
his family as well. Prayers to the wife.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
this should never happen. And you know what? It's a messed up world that we're living in when those kind of things happen. We are living in a shitty times right now. But it's good to be able to sit down, mate, and talk with you about what we love, fights, about how your career is going so well. You haven't lost since 2015. You're making your name here in the UFC. People are starting to put some respect on that name. You're a joy to watch. You're a big man. You're a 6'3" big man, and I love seeing those fighters. And you did so well, and I'm so proud of you for what you did on the weekend, going in there without injury. I like to get a little bit of on a final note. I like to get the fighters to maybe, if there's someone out there that's having a little rough time in life, that maybe has an injury and wants to push through, what kind of advice will you give to someone coming from a professional like yourself that may need to hear something to put a fire under their ass?
Yeah, I tell you what, man, I kind of said it in my post-fight, post via social media that, it's always mind over matter. It's always you versus you. Whatever the case may be in life, you're going to be your biggest battle, you yourself. You got to look in the mirror, man, and talk to that guy. Nobody else matters. So I tell people all the time, nobody ever made a statue of a critic. It's about the man that's actually in the arena. It's about the man who's willing to get up every single day and fight for what he believes in. And that goes for anything. That's just because I fight, but life's a struggle, man. And it's always you versus you. And just never lose hope. Continue to follow your dreams and never lose hope. And by continuing to get up, put those shoes on, lace them boots up, whatever you got to do, and to keep going forward, man. That's when the best will always be right around the corner. And I said that in my post, and I truly mean that. And man, just keep going. And if you need help, that's my biggest thing through social media and anything I do. I aim to inspire people, to show them that nothing is impossible. And if you follow your dreams, man, the best will always be around the corner. So I hope I can do that for people and to be an inspiration to make someone else's day better.
You absolutely are, and that's great advice right there. So I hope you listen to it, guys. Dustin, thank you so much for popping on today. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to seeing you fight in the future, and maybe we can have you come on the podcast next time.
Hey, man, I would love to. Marcus, thanks for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure being here. It's great to recap the victory. And I don't know if you heard, I climbed into the official rankings. I'm ranked number 15 in the world, so extremely happy about that.
Wow. And congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, man. Hard work forever pays, and onward and upward from here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Jacoby, light heavyweight UFC athlete. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thank you, man. You have a good day.
Thanks, man. Take care.
See you, buddy.
Bye, buddy. Well, there you go, guys. Another fantastic interview. I just love talking to these guys. I can't tell you how much I do. And I want to thank Jason House and Ed Cap and everybody from Iridium Sports Management that gives me the opportunity to do this, because, I'm just a novice. I'm a white belt in this industry of sports journalism. I'm learning every single time I do one of these. And I'm getting the itch to do them even more. Today's episode was proudly sponsored by Tidal Sport Cryotherapy Spray, TidalSport.com. If you haven't tried it, I put my name on that stuff. It is the game changer when it comes to sports sprays to help you with pain and inflammation. Co-founded by the man himself, Conor McGregor. Make sure you go check it out, TidalSport.com. Tell them Marcus Deegan sent you. Thanks for listening today, guys. I appreciate you all. I really do. I thank your support. Make sure you give us a 5-star and a thumbs up. Make sure you let everybody know what's going on. This is Marcus Deegan for the podcast today. Dustin Jacoby. We're out. Take care. The Marcus Deegan Show.